Hey, I'm Eric O'Keefe with FitnessBusinessInterviews.com, and I'm really excited to be here today because I have one of the icons of the fitness industry here with me, and that is Mr. Thomas Plummer. Now, Thom has been in the industry for over 30 years. He's helped thousands of fitness business owners. In fact, he's had over 70,000 students. He's sold over 250,000 books, and the man is super busy, constantly traveling around, setting up seminars to help more and more people. And he's here today to share his wealth of knowledge with us and what you guys can do to help move your business forward. So, Thom, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Eric. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Okay, so in the intro, I kind of mentioned a little bit, you've been in the industry now for 30 years and mentioned a few of the things that you're doing. But in your own words, can you just kind of put that in a little bit more detail, exactly what you're doing and who you're helping?
We've been traveling for a long time through our parent company, which is the National Fitness Business Alliance. Many people are very familiar with that. And our goal is to help people be more successful over time and to come up with sustainable business plans. And how can the market is changing so quickly now, and it's going in so many different directions that it seems like what worked even 3 or 4 years ago doesn't work today. So we're constantly reassessing and trying to help these guys find a way to sustain the businesses and also make a lot of money in the next 5 years.
Okay, so when you started out, did you start out as a trainer? Did you start out having your own business? Get a little bit of history so you can fill in some of the viewers here.
I was in graduate school in Arkansas and was working at a gym part-time, a local legend gym in Fayetteville, Arkansas called Leon Sneerly's Power Company. Leon was a legend and was way ahead of his time, but it was a karate school gym. And I did everything. I taught classes, I took people to workouts, did sales, cleaned the bathrooms, that type of guy, that first job. And it was, I was fascinated by the process because when I was in graduate school, the advice I was getting is find something that no one else really does, learn more about it, and you can make a nice living by being the expert in that field. And I was looking at the fitness business going, this is great, but this was in the late 70s. No one knew anything about fitness. And so I'm like, well, who do you even call to get, who does know anything? And no one knew. It was the start of the old Bally guys, old European guys, the chain that was so famous for, that decade in the 60s, early 70s, and there was just nothing left. So I thought, wow, this is a great hole. And except for 6 months, since 1977, this is all I've ever done is the fitness business, some aspect of it.
And I can tell it's something that you're just really passionate about, something that you love, and you've obviously been following it ever since.
Yeah, I'm probably really too old to keep doing this. I just can't quit. It's like every year there's something new and exciting. It's pretty cool.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, too. One of the things is, you've been in the industry now for over 30 years. You are constantly traveling all over the place. I mean, how do you find time with the travel and everything to balance all the things you have going on?
Every year I lie to my wife that it's going to be different, but last year, probably 43 weeks I traveled last year.
Wow.
I don't do so much of the private consulting anymore, things like that. I do a lot more. We do the NFBA workshops. I do work for people like Titleist, Perform Better. I do their summits and things, a lot of keynotes. And so I'm kind of in a different aspect of my career now, but I just did the ACE Symposium and I was the opening keynote speaker, and you got 700 people there, and it was, it was exciting. And it's just, because you get to talk about something that's so dynamic and so changing. And I still think we can make a difference. We're still trying to. The old mission statement, the first one I ever wrote was, change the industry one club owner at a time.
Right.
And I've kind of been trying to do that, and it's sad that there's still people out there not ethical. There's still bad clubs, but it's getting better. And the new generation training clubs, people like that, are just changing fitness for the good. It's an exciting time to be in the business.
Right. Now, I think the NFBA, you started, around 1990?
I had the company based in California at the time, bought out a partner and moved it back east. And so we reformed it in 2004. We reformed it under the National Fitness Business Alliance. That's the parent company. I'm not so active in it anymore. Jillian Russo runs it most of the time now. I do about 12 events for the NFBA, but there's other speakers now on the tour and things. So it's kind of evolved beyond me doing it anymore. I kind of go out and do my own thing, but I still do about 12 gigs a year for them.
Now, when you were late 70s, early 80s, back training, doing your own thing, when did you realize that it was the kind of thing that people actually needed help with growing their gyms and their facilities, and when did you decide to go out on your own and start helping people with that?
1980, I was working for the American Taekwondo Association. I was their vice president of operations, and they had about 600 commercial martial arts schools and about 90. At that time, we considered them health clubs, but looking back, they were just very badly done Nautilus centers, is what they were. It was really ugly if you look back, but. And none of these guys, as I started working with those guys, and then I was traveling around, I realized that nobody knew anything about how to make money except doing technology from the 50s, which is the old Arthur Murray dance studio technology, which is you pound somebody to death at the front desk in an office, you sign them up for a 3-year contract, and you hope the hell they never show up. And that's you can't make money doing that. That's or you can't do that to the consumer. But that's what European health spas, that's what the early Bally guys, all those guys were built on that old style thing. And there had to have been a source of good information to help people legitimately, ethically, professionally make money. And over the years, I've hoped that's been kind of become me through the years, because I don't think anybody else out there is really doing it anymore.
Right. Okay. Very cool. What I want to do is I want to take this interview, and we talked about it a little before we started recording here, in a little bit of a different direction. I want to take it as if I'm a club owner. Okay. I'm going to set the scene. So I'm a club owner. I've got a 6,000 square foot facility, charging $19 a month for members, and I'm struggling to get by, and I need to just do something different. So I kind of want you to walk me through the process, if that was really me, and some of the things that I could do with my club or facility to start moving things in the right direction.
The 6,000 square foot club right now is I hate to use the tired term, but the sweet spot, because there's guys now doing, we have a client we've been working with about 6 years in Atlanta. He's in 6,000 square feet, and he's doing $1.3 million. And $1.3 million in 6,000 feet is what a box gym, even a few years ago, would dream of making, and a lot of these guys still aren't making. And the 6,000 foot club, for example, like the Anytime clubs, they're going through a transition which speaks a lot of their organization. They're letting these guys evolve into really training-centric clubs. And so you're replacing a lot of the fixed equipment and becoming training-centric and putting all the training on 12-month EFT. We're seeing first-generation clubs in the last 2 years in 8,000 to 10,000 feet doing $2.5 million a year. Wow. And I show those numbers to the box guys, and they go, "You're lying. How can you do this with 800 members?" But right. The return per member is only a couple $100 per month. And we've got guys doing. We've got one guy I'm particularly proud of in 10,000 square feet, and he has about roughly 1,000 members, probably just a little less. And the guy's going to do $2.6 million this year. It's just incredible. So if you've got that box, the first thing you have to understand is it's not a gym, it's not a membership mill, it's not a shrunken 24-hour fitness, it's a training club. And you can have a 100,000 foot club as long as you understand the training business. Mm-hmm. I think the most powerful thing that we teach now is, if you look at, let's say a typical club, a box club is doing $80,000 a month, call it $83,000 a month. He's doing $83,000 a month net in membership. And so he's doing $1 million a year in membership revenue. That's a pretty solid club. On the other side of that, the guy only does $10,000 a month in training. Right. So he's got $120,000 a year on that side. Where's the growth? Right. And you have to be insane in today's market to think you can grow that million much higher than it is. The growth potential in the next 5 years is on the other side of the formula, which is getting that training revenue equal or greater to the membership revenue. And these box guys, these gold gyms, these old style 27,000 foot boxes, when you guys got guys down the street doing $3 a month membership, $7, $9, if you don't master the training component, you're going to be dead in the next 5 years. You can't make it on volume. It's not sustainable. You can't fight that war at $9. Those guys are even losing that war because the cannibals are now eating the cannibals. They're down there killing each other. And that leaves a hole for a guy that wants to run a training club. It's kind of going back to what we should have done. Hey, get the guy in shape and you're going to make some money.
Right. No, it's funny you're saying that, because just yesterday, actually the last few weeks, I'm in New York. I'm just about an hour outside of New York City. And I was driving down New York City last couple times, and I've driven this route years ago, and I hadn't driven it in a few years. And I drove it the other day, and I'm looking, and all it is signs and billboards everywhere. $19 a month for this, $10 a month for this, $19 a month for this. And I would say within a 4 or 5 mile span, I must have seen 7 or 8 billboards with different places all charging membership-based fees like that, just trying to basically, like you said, cannibalize each other.
Yeah, exit on 95 through Connecticut. That's where you saw all of them.
I saw it. I was heading down through North Jersey.
Oh, yeah.
17 Route 4, and I noticed it on Route 4 going right through there.
Yeah, those guys. There's nothing wrong with that model, except, and it worked. The Planet Fitness guys, when they came out with that, Mike Grondel is probably one of the most brilliant guys in the fitness industry. And when he came out, the concept was kind of right. Get people in, hadn't used it before, lower the price. Right. But that was 15 years ago, and the market has changed so much since they came out with that model that it doesn't really work anymore. Now he's got the imitators. There's a guy in North Carolina doing $3 a month memberships. There's guys doing $7. So if you've got 8 guys in the market, like WOW is they're like the evil twin to Planet Fitness, and the East Coast is WOW. They're doing exact same marketing, almost the exact same ripoff of the ads. One guy's doing $10 and the other guy's doing $9. But the little training guy down the street, can open a 6,000 foot club, have 300 members, and do $1 million a year and not feel any of that pain. Right. So what we're trying to do is get the big box guys to kind of pick up that whole training mentality and just drop it in their boxes. So if I've got a 27,000 foot club in northern Jersey, I can become a training club, cut my membership by 500 members, and probably make twice the revenue. But those guys are hard. They don't get that, and it's hard. It's hard teaching that. It's very frustrating to get those guys to convert.
And before we get into a little bit more on that, I wanted to just touch more about it on the price things. I want to know what you think about, these facilities and clubs charging $3 a month per member. I mean, what do you think that's doing to the industry by them just charging such low prices?
I think the damage is already done. That was 3 to 5 years ago, in that range. That's when the low price guys did the most damage. And right now there's allegedly 14 new franchise companies opening in the next 18 months, all doing $9 memberships. So when you get that imitator, it's like when Curves came out. They were wildly successful, and then 3 years later there was, how many Curve imitators were there, and then how many are left? Right. So when the imitators start imitating the other imitators, it's not going to last very long. And I think that we see strong evidence that the cheap model is already starting to fade, but it's faded before. That's not a new model. That model goes back for generations. Every 10 or 12 years, we call those micro trends. Yeah. Every 10 or 12 years, pricing cycles through like somebody just invented it. Oh, that's exciting. We'll lower the price, get a lot of volume. That's an old concept, and it comes through a lot. So I think we're done that era now. I think but I think that also made people realize you can't make it just on memberships. Right. The guys that fight the membership wars, and 80-90% of their income is from membership and receivable base, they're getting killed. Yeah. And the training clubs, I look at those guys and the revenue they're generating, and it's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing what these guys are doing. There's a franchise gym, Gold's Gym, up in Rochester, New York. The guy it's the worst market. Rochester that's not the mecca of fitness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
You can stand on the corner of his parking lots and look down the street and see Planet Fitness signs. And this guy, in the last couple of years, has phenomenal growth, and his training revenue now almost is equal to his monthly dues revenue. You can't hurt this guy. But he's first generation of guys making these changes. Yeah. And as people understand that, then it'll be less on $9 memberships and more on return per member, and that's where it should be.
Do you think that these low-cost prices are hurting the industry in terms of maybe people starting to see, all right, it's as low price, it's not as good quality? People are starting to understand that a little bit more now in terms of the members, not so much the business owners. You'd have to be an idiot not to understand that in about 6 minutes after you join those clubs, when you're standing in line waiting to get on cardio with 200 of your closest friends. Yeah. I think it did damage in the sense that it's making it a commodity, but we've had that discussion. Yeah. I think it really hurt is there's a whole generation of people that went to those clubs, didn't get any help, and quit, and now equate the fitness business with nasty, crowded clubs, bad parking, no caring attitude. And I think that's hurt us more than the long-term ramifications of those low-price guys. Is
while some of those guys made a lot of money and were successful at it, they did a lot of damage to the image of the industry just for the fact that they've created something that doesn't exist. People do care in this industry, just not those guys.
Right, right. And do you think that it makes it harder for guys that do care, who are trying to do things the right way?
It did 3 to 5 years ago. Now, I think we're past that. I think the consumer is better. I hate to give this credit, but things like The Biggest Loser, where people see that type of training, and there's great books out now. Todd Durkin's book, Total Impact, Rachel Cosgrove's book, Female Body Breakthrough. Right. You see these books out. The consumers are buying these books, not the trainers. And people are understanding that training in men's health is a perfect example of a book that just teaches people at a higher level. Those clients are looking for gems, and they're going to find them, and they're finding them in these 6,000 to 10,000 foot training facilities.
Okay. All right. So I want to dive back into that. You're talking about the trainer-centric model. Okay. I've got that facility. So in the sweet spot, 6,000 square feet, only charging $19 a month. So the first thing you're saying that I should do for something like that is start focusing more on the training side of things and how to grow the training part of the business.
Yeah, we would do that slowly, because the idea, Eric, not to make you go out of business. If you're in business, you've got 6,000 feet, you probably got the typical model we see is probably got 300, 400 members doing that, making 25 grand a month. Mm-hmm. They're not by any means killing it, but they're probably hanging on. Yeah. The layered pricing is what we believe in strongly. Is I might do $19 for simple access to the club. Might do $59 for group personal training, groups of 10 to 12 with a coach. Might do $89 for small group training, doing the workout of the day, something a little more intensified, usually a little older crowd. Mm-hmm. The large group training for, say, $59 is just a group ass beating. It's just a lot of fun, screaming, good music. Right. And then you get into the small group, it's a little more intimate, a lot more coaching. And then you get into one-on-one training. But by showing, you can show $19 at the bottom and show a low entry. It's not the 19, it's the layered pricing on top of it. We don't do any sessions, any packages. So the training is all 12-month EFT. So, for example, we might do, again, $19 for simple access to the club. Right. If the club has group exercise / aerobics, that might be $39, and you can have that as well as access. And then $69 might be group personal training, where we offer that 8 to 10 times a week. And the people come in very structured, dynamic warm-up, big strength segment, big metabolic burn at the end. And then, but if you want even more intense and a little more personal coaching, we might raise that to, say, $99 to $129 and go up from that point. So the club would sell less memberships, but let's say 4 out of 10 take above the 19, your return per member is higher. And then slowly over time, you work away from the 19 into more of a training. And a year later, you're probably going to raise that 19 to 39 or 49 anyway as your entry price. Okay. So it's not the price, it's the return per member.
Right, right. And you start looking long-term value, not trying to figure out just what you get.
Everything's on a 12-month basis, exactly. Yep. You do everything on a 12-month basis, and that keeps the club safe. And you get away from the packages and the sessions and, $75 for a training session, or I buy 5 for $250 or 10 for $400. Right. That's old style. That's so 1995. It's just disgusting. But
it frustrates me. I'm very involved with a few organizations that still do that, and it drives me nuts. Oh, yeah. I cannot get them to change. They don't get it, but that's okay. So let's say I've got this facility, and we're going to start switching to that model. I've got my current members in there. They're set, and they're used to paying that $19 a month. How do I start to get them sold on maybe looking into those other packages or those other areas where they can go?
Wait, I'd like to lie to you and tell you that's easy. That's more difficult. I try to get the owners to think in 2 parts. One is new members forward that have no experience with you. And then go back to the old members, and we might retro them. But for 30 days before we release the new prices to the public, we want the trainers to train everybody in the club that comes through the door into the new tools, because you're probably have been introduced 50-foot ropes, prowler sleds, kettlebells. The members have seen none of that. They've been on circuit equipment, which is also dead and gone. Mm-hmm. But the new client is actually getting introduced to these new toys. If the client wants to stay at their old price and keep doing what they're doing, we honor that. We hurt no one. But new members forward, we do that. All we're looking for is to convert 10% of the existing members into a higher price training program is all we're seeking. Okay. And so I don't want to hurt the guy, and it is a slow process. But a year from now, where's he going to be? And then that means 4 out of 10 of all his new clients should be training clients, and he's out of danger at that point.
All right. So then we focus on the new members coming in, set with those set levels right there. How is it that they're, I guess, marketing that or starting to present that content to those people or those prospects coming in so that they start to know what's the right area for them?
One of the hardest things is you got to get a guy's head away from the volume. I was just talking to a young owner from California just before our call today, and here's a guy that he grew up working for 24, but he's got an 11,000 foot facility of his own now, and he just everything he's geared. He's a trainer guy, and he's thinking in terms of this, but he can't get out of the volume mindset. So if you can grasp the fact that you can make this with 300 members instead of 3,000. Then your marketing changes. Three things in marketing I think work very well for who we are in the industry today. One is if you're a simple club, maybe a rural market, you might do 21 days risk-free, no cost, just introduce it, let people come and try it. To know you is to love you, meaning they come to the club, they try training. We put them in groups, which are very cost-effective. They can try group PT, large group, small group PT. Smaller clubs, we let them have one-on-one session, and they experience everything. The more aggressive clubs, we do paid trials, which is 30 days for somewhere between $19 to, if you're in Manhattan, $149 for a month. And we, again, let them try the products, and they pay for 30 days, and we give them full training for 30 days, but done in group situations, because that's what we're advocating anyway. And then a harder one to do, and you have to be a better owner, is 90-day trials. And say for $99, $149, I believe there's about 70% of the population we don't touch. Right now we have 16% of the population that belong to health clubs, according to IRSA. 306 million, about 51 million in there. And I believe there's about 14, according to the CDC, that have no clue, will never join a club, too fat to breathe. So that leaves us 70% in the middle that are potential clients. So many of those folks would love to try a gym, but they're not gym people. They're like, if you think about it, we're the only industry where you come in and say, hey, Eric, fitness is great. No more beer the rest of your life, no pizza, no fries. You got to come in here every day and pick up heavy shit, move it all around the gym, put it right back where you found it. This is going to be very painful, but it goes on the rest of your life. And the consumers don't grasp that. So what we're trying to do is a 90-day course, like a community college course, like martial arts course, like golf lessons. Everything in the real world is there's a start, there's a finish.
Right.
And you actually progress in steps through that. So we're trying to get a lot of the fitness facilities to get into a 90-day window to attract people that have never been in a club before, that will not sign up for a perpetual membership because it's just not who they are. They want a course. They want to come in and start, finish, have checkpoints along the way. And that's a more sophisticated marketing, but that works very well with that 6,000-foot sweet spot because you've got 90 days to make that guy your friend for life. Right. So one form of the marketing, either the 21-day, 30-day paid trial or the 90-day extended trial, is what we're advocating this year for everybody.
Okay, so they go through those trials. At the end of those trials, what is the presentation or, I guess, pitch to try and get them into then that 12-month EFT? Is there some sort of discount off of there? Is there just some offer, or is it just straight into it?
Straight into it, yeah. Okay. If 90 days, if I haven't convinced you you're my guy anyway, or I'm the guy for you, then it's not going to work. So you don't have to. We don't believe. I do not teach discounting. Knock 50% off or that. If you've gone through 30-day trial and the membership is, let's say you're interested in small group training at $99, you just simply move into that, no membership fee, and just start your $99 for 12 months at that time. And I will give you a messenger bag, T-shirt, water bottle. Thank you. You drove past 4 clubs to get to my club. I'm going to say thank you. I do appreciate the business in today's marketplace, especially. But I'm not going to. I'd rather enhance the deal than discount the deal and look stupid. Okay. Hey, thank you. You decided here, Eric, have a nice messenger bag, and I threw in a T-shirt. And hey, I know you got a significant, so there's another T-shirt in there for you. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate you being my client. Right. That goes a lot farther than knocking 50% off something that never existed anyway, which is again 1952.
Right. Is the 21-day, is that a free trial?
Yeah,
Okay.
the proper term is risk-free
Risk-free trial.
trial because risk is the biggest barrier to inquiry. So many people have such a bad connotation about the fitness business, either through Bally or the $9 guys or something.
Yeah.
They're not willing to, to even try. So you've got to disarm risk to get more people through the door. So if it's a risk-free trial, 21 days and no money, that's as risk-free as you can get.
Right.
The problem is that only works in certain markets. That
Yeah.
does not work well, for example, in Chicago, where for some reason it's just too good to be true.
Right.
But a paid trial where we do 19 for 30 days, where there's actually a set price and value perceived, that works better. So those are interchangeable in most markets, depending on the market. And we find them to be the same tool, but they actually really appeal to two separate people.
Right. Right. Because I know that that's about 21 free day trial. Because I know if you went into New York City and you did something like that in a certain location in your city, people would be like, what's going on here? You know,
You'd be
this
the
is
biggest homeless shower in Manhattan.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
In Manhattan, that in downtown San Francisco, a few markets are pretty unique. In Manhattan, a trainer, I've got a number of guys there, but one guy comes to mind that we're doing a 30-day trial there for $149.
Right.
And that's cheap. And especially he's down by the financial. So that we consider that very, very cheap. And we had a discussion if it should be 249. So,
Yeah.
but 149, it's got to be market bearing in that sense.
Right. One of the other things too I wanted to dive into was because I get a lot of questions about this is trainers. You know, let's say for that 6,000 square foot facility, you know, around let's say 400, 500 members. I mean, what's a reasonable number of trainers to have on staff? What's too many, too little?
Our training model is very unique in that the trainers can't sell anybody anything. They're horrible salespeople. They didn't get into fitness because they love selling.
Right, right.
So we use a system based on an assessor. We find one trainer that's trained for 10 years that loves training, but he's just tired of sweaty people.
Yeah.
He becomes our assessor, and his job is to feed all the other trainers. And so his job is for an hour, he will meet with somebody new, do a approximate 10-minute meet and greet. You know, what's your goal? What's your time frame? What's your commitment? Let me get to know you because nobody else you'll talk to in the fitness business will take that time. And then I take them through a dynamic warm-up, sliding scale from 7 to 12 minutes. And it's progressive, meaning if they're deconditioned, they bail out early but don't feel bad because they didn't do something they failed at. So it's a 12-minute sliding scale. And 20 minutes strength. We always do the same exact movements, a kettlebell swing, a push, goblet squat, a pull, a lunge, and a deadlift. I love the kettlebell swing because it looks so simple on television, and
Right.
it gives our trainers a chance to show off, or our assessor. And then we take them through a little metabolic finish at the end. Could be 30 seconds for Mrs. Johnson that's out of shape, or 3 minutes. And then we set them down, explain the prices, and we place them in the program and make, based on what they told us and who they are, we suggest this program. But based on that model and the fact that we're only, we think 60, 70% of your business will be group PT. To just give you an example, the guy in Atlanta, Rick Mayo is his name, M-A-Y-O, very successful guy. 1.3 million, 6,000 feet, 330 members, and he has 3 full-time trainers and 4 part-timers,
Okay.
generating that much income. So it's our system. The trainers get better, but there's fewer of them, and all the trainers are fed by one assessor, which is a trainer that's not afraid of money. So our system is a lot more cost-effective for the clubs to use, a lot easier to do, but and it's not so trainer dependent where you got to have 50 trainers all doing one-on-one, which doesn't work.
Right, right. Now, I want to talk a little bit more about the marketing side of things because what I see big box gyms and clubs is it's a lot of the old-fashioned stuff still that they're doing. You know, all right, let's just put up a billboard or an ad in a newspaper kind of thing. You know, where are you pushing your guys and people that you work with to market their business?
You have to think in marketing right now as a transitional tool. Retro marketing is still newspapers, direct mail pieces, things like that.
Right.
You still have to do that because the over 40 crowd is many times a retro.
Mm-hmm.
The joke we use in the workshops are, did you get up this morning? Did you read the newspaper? Did you sit and have a cup of coffee, maybe check your phone? Are you the guy that sleeps with your iPad and your iPhone and you had the TV on, you had checked all that before you even got up to go to the bathroom, so you got to go after both of those. Marketing is in a big transition, but the marketing most of the boxes use is still based on old generation marketing, whereas I've got to fill volume. So it's just discount after special after discount after special. But if you've got 10 clubs in the market all emulating that, there's no way you can bring enough people in. There's only X number of people that are going to do it. So you have to spend all your marketing, I believe, on creating future business. You can't keep tapping that 16% that belong to health clubs. So when you run 50% off your membership fee, well, that's cool if I'm already interested in fitness, but that 70% of the people are not interested in fitness. They've heard of it. They might want to try it, but running a discount on something that you don't need, if I run a 50% off bra sale for you, are you going to run down there? I mean, it's irrelevant to the consumer. So you run 2 for 1 or all this stuff, you might catch a few percentage points that are on the fence that, are ready to join, but the vast majority of that 7%, the price is not going to get them in the gym. You have to create interest. You have to take out risk and you have to change it. So I think most of their marketing is very ineffective. And I think the numbers of most of the change kind of proves that. Yeah. What they're doing is not really working very well.
Is there any shift now? I mean, again, it depends on the market and the clientele and all that. But that you see marketing-wise, it seems to be working a little bit better than some of the other things?
If you're patient enough to do it, and again, I think the trainers are starting to lead the way. And by being trainers, I mean successful training clubs. Their websites, when you start posting a fitness tip of the week video, that starts bringing people in. Facebooking every day. If you don't use it as, hey, here I am at the beach on vacation, but you use it as something to really as a business tool. Yeah, I think that the steady, constant contact. We still have a women's club on Cape Cod. We Facebook, get 30 days of free training if you send a video in of you doing a burpee somewhere for you and a friend. Right. We had 38 women doing burpees on restaurants and on the beach and at the mall. And so we gave 38 months, but we also give 38 guest months out. So it cost us $0 to generate 38 leads that were going to be in the club for 30 days. And so that type of tool, when it's used correctly, is very good. And that's hard to do when you've got, you're trying to chase 4,000 members in a big box club. So they're just by the nature of who they are, they're constantly fighting for volume with the 5 box clubs down the street. So they don't change the training centric, then you're still chasing volume, and that's not gonna happen.
Do you have any of your clients or people? Do you focus anything on a referral rewards type of program?
We make it so open to bring people in anyway, or suggest that, so you don't spend a lot of time. When people sign up, we believe in giving them a 30-day, wedding invitation quality pass, good for one person. For right now, we're changing it. We used to do 30 days, now it's 45 or 60 days. Full training, full everything, and just to get their single best lead to come through the door. And if somebody comes in and refers somebody, you've got to take care of that person. If somebody thinks enough of your business to bring their best friend in, you just can't give them a month or a cheap ball cap. You've got to do something. So I'm a big believer in giving this person, one of 3 options. Always have 3, but one is a month if they want to do that, or 2 months. One is a very nice backpack or bag. Another could be just a $150 restaurant package to restaurants you deal with in the area or something. But you gotta buy the deals. You gotta pay people for being referral based, and we want. But when a guy brings somebody in, you give the guy a ball cap or a T-shirt, and especially in the training clients for somebody, it's a referral is $2,500, $4,000. We have a lot of clubs, a significant number. I say a lot, by probably 100 or so. That if you bring somebody in, I send you a nice bottle of wine tomorrow. So I have a membership at wine.com. Right. So you come in, and then when you get home from work tomorrow, there's a nice bottle of, a reasonable price, $25, $30 bottle of wine sitting on your step. You're a money guy. You referred somebody. Giving you $50 is going to make no difference. But the thoughtfulness of a bottle of wine or something like that, it cost me $25 or $30 to send that to, and it comes the next day. So we're teaching a lot of the people to be a little more appreciative of those referrals.
Right. It's funny you mentioned some of those, like the baseball cap, because I would say it was 7 or 8 years ago. I was a member at one of the big box gyms, and I referred somebody, and they gave me a water bottle, and that was it. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget that, because I was like, you guys are getting, $1,000 plus a year from me, and you gave me a water bottle because I just gave you another $1,000, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah, 69 cents they probably blew out on that. I bet you still got that on your shelf somewhere, huh? That's a
Actually, I
big
do. It's actually in my car.
well, it worked.
All right. So for the person who is still in that mold, that's struggling, I guess that's 6,000 square feet, and they're just having a tough time shifting their mind around volume and trying to get into that trainer-centric model, what should they be focusing on to try and really start focusing on that model and not worry so much about the volume?
The first number we teach them to track is return per sale.
Okay.
So if I sell 10 memberships and they're all $19 membership fee, my average is probably not even going to be $19 in that model, because I discounted for your spouse or discounted for students. So we try to teach them, if you do, disregard the membership fees, look at the monthly fees,
right.
And your goal is to keep that return average higher than your price. So if let's say in that price structure I gave you, where it's a layered pricing system, I sell 10 memberships, but one was at $59, one was at $99, and one might be $299 a month for 5 sessions a month, one-on-one training. I showed 10 memberships. I showed a $19 price, but my return per sale might be as high that day as $120.
Right.
So your return per sale is everything. That starts to get them to think less volume and more. What did this sale actually generate for me? That's the first thing we try to get them to do, is shift from volume to return per member.
Right. Okay.
That's the hard part.
Yeah, that's right. Right. And then they go from there. They finally get it, and they eventually start to shift things the right direction. So what I'm going to do is we're going to wrap up here. I got a few more questions for you. I think we've already covered this, but the biggest mistake, I would say, what would you say the biggest mistake that you see from clubs or facilities right now? I mean, obviously, the volume thing is an issue, but is there anything else that you see that they're doing that's just maybe a little bit off?
Good question, and then given any day of the week, I might give you a different answer.
Okay.
Today, changes in the industry. It used to. I know you've been around for a while. You used to go to Ursa Show. Remember that? And they used to have these big launches of equipment.
Yep.
That would permeate through the industry, and change came from the big companies down, or the chains. Remember when 24 Hour and those guys introduced the first open-end memberships?
Yeah.
It might have been before your time, but when they released that was big. But that's not happening anymore. The change now, if you read like Seth Godin, Tribes, and especially in our industry, I go to the Perform Better Summits. They average right now about 800 and 900 trainers there at each of these, and they've got usually somewhere around 50 to 60% of them are owners of some fitness business.
Right.
So here's guys spending 3 days of their life learning from the greatest minds in the industry, Cosgrove, Gray Cook, Mike Boyle, Durkin, Verstegen, Parisi. All these guys are teaching this stuff. So these trainer guys go home and they've got the best technique. It's 24 hours fresh. And the change now is coming. The biggest change in the industry right now, by far, is that the fact that the circuit training is absolutely dead. The members hate it. The trainers hate it. It's a big waste of money and space in the clubs. And functional training and how we train people has resolved back. The big mistake people make is, especially the box clubs or these little 5,000-foot, franchise clubs and stuff, is you put out a line of treadmills and a line of fixed equipment, single joint, fixed plane equipment, a few dumbbells in the corner, and you think you got a gym, and you're not even competitive anymore. You're not even in the game anymore. Right. So the big mistake these guys make is they don't understand what business we're in. We're not in the membership business. We're in the results business. Right. And most of the gyms, there's in our market area in Cape Cod, we have 22 competitors within 7 miles of our women's club. I have better equipment in my basement than all 22 of those clubs have. There's no kettlebells, no 50-foot ropes, no sleds, nothing in these clubs. 22 competitors, not one of these people have any kind of functional tools that you can have access with. One guy does let you have it, but only if you're with the trainer. He keeps it locked up. All the cool stuff's locked up in a little room. So the trainers are just, the biggest mistake they make is they're a generation behind of what the consumer wants, and they're a generation behind of what the trainers are doing for the industry, driving that change from the ground up.
Right.
And I think they're going to get killed. And I think a lot of them are getting killed now. I mean, you just, they're so out of touch with the reality of the fitness business now. So the biggest mistake is membership versus training. And they're still locked into an era, 1995, the glory years of fitness, when we used to be able to sell a lot of memberships. And then it's not happening anymore.
Okay. And then last two questions I have for you. If you were to recommend any resources or things or tools that people could learn some of this stuff from, what are some of those resources?
Well, thanks for that open plug there.
Sure, why not?
I highly recommend that they attend a National Fitness Business Alliance. We travel all around the country for that. I travel around the world. I'm next, let's see, 2 weeks we're doing Charlotte, and we do Stamford, Connecticut, but we're traveling. You can find our schedule pretty easily. I'm doing 5 events for Philex this year in Australia. I'll be in England again. So our stuff's kind of everywhere. We teach a complete turnkey business system through the NFBA, and we have a number of different events where you can learn that. I think that's a safe resource for most of them. Give me another self plug, but my blogs are pretty in depth on how to do a lot of these things, and so you can find that under my name, and that's pretty easy to find. Okay. Other resources is the owners, the mainstream guys need to get in the training world. I highly recommend that they spend, there's 3 Perform Better 3-day summits. I highly recommend they get involved in those all 3 days as a student, go through, sit on a lecture, do the hands-on. You understand that process, but that's I think that's a good start for people. The ACE Symposium this year was exceptional, or late last year, they had Dirk in there and a lot of these superstar trainers. And those are the guys, if you get a chance to hear, are amazing because they're making money, but they're also changing how we think about the business. There's guys like Alan and Rachel Cosgrove that are making money in the training business. And then find somebody like this Rick Mayo guy and pay the guy and go spend a day with them. The resources are not like they used to be. Ursa is still a decent show, but a lot of them are very old school speakers. And clubs like, guys like Club Industry and stuff are just dinosaur events anymore. Not a lot happening in those. Right. So you're going to have to go learn as a box guy from the other end of the scale. You got to talk to the people that are making change from the bottom up and not necessarily the other way.
Very cool. Well, Tom, I appreciate all the time and the amazing information you shared with us. And you said people can find some of your stuff on your website. What's the website address? It's under your name?
My blog and everything is under Thomas Plummer at or .net, .anything, but .net usually .com gets you there.
Okay.
And then I have Facebook, but I have 2 Facebook pages. One is Late Night Edition, which is like a mini blog. And then where we're going to be and what we're doing and business tips are on the regular Facebook. And then jointhenfba.com is the easiest way to find that, or just National Fitness Business Line. Or for you retro people that still have telephones, you can call us at 800-726-3506, and that'll get it done if they want to do it that way too.
All right, Tom, I appreciate the time. And again, awesome information, and I will definitely be talking to you soon.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks for the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.